would be the time to turn off your camera, and we don't mind. So, and I will show you where you can catch all of our recordings when we get started here. So again, oh, well, it's 4:02. I think I will go ahead and get going at this point. So I'm just going to start by saying welcome to everybody. My name is Pamela Rabin. I'm a coordinator with educational technology for the San Diego County Office of Education. And this whole series, the Curious About series, is really something that came from our department sitting around and having conversations about things that we were curious about and wanting to know a little bit more on. So we have come up with these different topics. So we've talked about quantum computers, we've talked about escape rooms, we've talked about Bitcoin and NFTs. And today we were just really wanting to invite our grant services team at San Diego County Office of Education. They have recently put out an amazing grant writing class that I went and took that was a 3-day class. And I had asked if they wouldn't mind talking with us on grants in kind of small grants for classroom teachers, just getting dipping your feet into what that might look like. And so today we do have with us, and I'll just let you wave hi real quick. Michelle, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Hooley?
It's who likes school.
Cool. Thank you. Like school. That's a good way to remember it. Thank you. Michelle Hool is here, and then Allison Wood. I see that you're also here in attendance, and they're both in grant services. Correct about that? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get started by sharing my screen. And pardon me while I stare off to the side for just 1 second. Put that in slideshow mode. And then Michelle, will we go out to any websites? Should I leave it in a full screen mode, or are you going to need me to be able to click on things and go to other websites?
Um, you, it may be helpful to click on some of the
Perfect.
websites as we're moving throughout the
Okay,
presentation.
great. I've got it for us then. And there
And
we go.
thank you so much for being the Vanna White.
You're welcome. All right. Let me move this over here. Okay. So again, this is our Curious About series, and we are talking about EdTech grant writing if you've just come in. There is a link down below. It's bit.ly/curious about grants if you'd like to have access to the slide deck. We do always curate the video and the slides together on our website. So if you are interested in where you can find any of the activities or webinars that EdTech is offering, like this series, you can always go to the Educational Technology Calendar of Events, which is found on our website, which is sdcoe.net/edtech. And when you go there, you can go into our Events and Resources tab, and that has a listing of all of our past events. So those are the ones that are going to be in this kind of blue shade here. And as you scroll down, you'll see the more recent, what we have going on this month. So we have an Innovating the Future, Connecting Classrooms and Careers to Sports Medicine that we just had on February 4th. And I believe those resources will begin to be populated into here. Coming up today, we have the EdTech Curious About Grants. And then on the 25th, we're doing an EdTech for Littles around podcasting with students who are in TK through about second grade. And then we also have on the 27th a class on AI, ethics, and cyberbullying and some other considerations around that whole topic. But you can find them here. And as you can see, we've curated the video and the resources together in those past events. So as they become available, we put them here. We also have our date for the next Learning and Innovation Summit, which is a conference that EdTech puts on in August. So if you're interested in that, we'll be posting more information here, and then we'll have a website that you can go to. So right now, what I would like to do is go ahead and introduce more formally Michelle Hool, who is a manager in grant services, and she will be talking with you today about that. So I'm going to give the platform over to you, Michelle, and thank you very much and your whole department for supporting us with this webinar that we're doing today.
Oh my goodness, my pleasure. And thank you for the warm introduction and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. after a full day of work because you are passionate about EdTech and grants, and I am here to make sure that I can give you as much information in this short amount of time that can continue to spark that excitement and enthusiasm. Again, so my name is Michelle Houle. I have been connected to grants for 20 years, starting off as an educator in a classroom that needed everything. And so I had to write grants to get books. And when I worked with pregnant parenting teenagers and their infant and toddler children, I wrote grants for portable water facilities and changing table paper. And so, you get good at grants, and it becomes something that you realize is a transferable skill. And it's been a wonderful journey, and I've been part of grant services for about 4.5 years after many years of being both in the classroom and working on grants. So the last thing I'll say on that is it's really nice to, from my perspective, to have both of those experiences of being the person who's grant funded and the person who's writing the grant. Because then when you're writing a grant, you realize that you're writing about a real person because you've been that person. So when I think of grants, I get very, very excited and happy. But I'm curious about the people in the room here. If you had to think of one word that captures how you feel when you think about grants, what might that word be? And I will pause. And I'll be looking to the side so I can look in the chat here. Lengthy. Thank you, Joel. Oh no, Nancy, rejection. Lars, litigious. Yes, sometimes they do seem like long, formal documents. Opportunity, yes. Thank you, Allison. Hard to obtain. So true, Andy. It is very, yes, difficult. Sharon, hopefully by the end of today, we're going to shave a little bit of the edge off the difficulty there for you. Kristen, I know about them, but not how to write or look for them. Okay. So we're going to be in entry point today. Where are they? Oh, good. This is something that we're going to cover. And then access. Amanda, I think that's a really great word because you can look at it so many different ways. It's a skill to learn how to access grants, and at the same time, grants really can increase your students' access to so many different things. So thank you for that. Thank you very much. All right. So next slide, please, Pam. Yeah, so really our time together today, we're going to just be talking about the really broad basics of grants and what you can do to bring innovative ed tech resources to your school or your classroom. Next slide, please. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about why grants matter for educators, what are grants, how to identify funding opportunities, application basics, and then some web resources, and we'll walk through navigating them. And we'll close with some final tips and questions. So while I did allot some time at the end for questions, please do feel free to type your questions in the chat, and I can definitely answer them as we're moving along as well. Okay, so next slide, please. So why grants matter for educators? Grants are absolutely a tool for innovation in education. So we know that There's a certain amount of funding that can come to our school or to our classroom for the things that are required, but often people in the classroom identify needs that are not met with current levels of funding. And so you, as individuals who are in the classroom or who work directly with classrooms, have that knowledge, that insight of where there are gaps. And so grants can help fill that gap. Grants, they are, funds that you get that you don't have to pay back, but they are tied to specific outcomes. And so getting grants for ed tech in particular can really help reshape classrooms. And so I'll give you an example here. And since you have access to the slide deck, if you would like to see a really cool example of a grant in action, the Classroom of the Future Foundation, they hold annual competitions, and one of their awardees was the Poway Unified School District Cyber Aegis team, and they won an award to support their club that helps students pursue a career in cybersecurity. So if you have a chance later and you're curious, there's a fun video that talks about their team and what they did and the award. So so grants can make a really big difference. All right. And so the next slide, please. And like I said, grants are some basic definitions. What are grants? Grants is a financial award that's not required to be paid back, and it's given to an organization or an individual to fund a specific purpose. So who are the major funders of grants? Well, there's government agencies, federal, state, and local, and they're the largest source of educational grants. Examples of federal funders include the U.S. Department of Education, the National Science Foundation, all the different agencies have their own grants typically. And then the largest state funder of educational grants in California is the California Department of Education. Examples of local government funding include there's a community development block grant program that's offered by the city of San Diego and San Diego County. So at all levels of government, different grant opportunities exist. Another source of grant funds would be philanthropic organizations. So these are often larger organizations that's often directly operate programs and engage in grant making using multiple funding sources. So for example, the San Diego Foundation. And the San Diego Foundation does a lot of really good work in San Diego. One thing to note is that they typically fund nonprofits. They don't typically give directly to schools, but it depends. And so the next type of funding we are going to look at is corporations. So many large corporations have a corporate giving program. When corporations have a corporate giving program, they will often want to know that the recipient is in the service area of their business. And so I'll give you an example of that. Toro Foundation has a green space giving program, but you have to be within a radius of a Toro headquarters, and there happens to be one in El Cajon. And so knowing the corporate the corporation headquarters and reading the fine print, you can make sure to determine if you're eligible for their corporate giving endeavors. And then lastly, private foundations are a type of philanthropic organization that typically derives funds from a single concentrated source, like a family or a personal trust. And one example of that would be Price Philanthropies. So I believe Saul Price was the parent of this that family foundation. I think he was the Price Club leader, but they're private because they just donate. They're just one organization that just donates to whatever specific causes that they prefer to fund. So those are the big four sources for grants. Okay, next slide, please. Oh, right. So, let's see. Oh, their grant window is open right now. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out for Classroom of the Future. Thanks, Alicia. Okay, so how to identify funding opportunities? All right. We're at a really interesting time now for identifying funding opportunities. If you have been watching the news, there are some things going on with federal grants where they've put a pause on some federal grants. So I just want to acknowledge that reality is that there's some changing landscapes in searching for federal grants. But for federal grants, the search engine that you would use, and it is still available, is grants.gov. And yeah, Pam, if you can click on that link, if you don't mind. So at grants.gov, it's going to look kind of intimidating, and believe you me, those of us who have worked with it for years still find it kind of not very user-friendly and somewhat intimidating from time to time. But grants.gov also has a lot of user aids and tutorial videos and resources that you can use to help build your grant seeking muscle. And so on grants.gov, the most straightforward way to see the grants, the federal grants that have recently posted, is to press the search grants feature. And yeah. And there you go. That will list the available grants, and you can narrow it down by agency, by focus. You can use keywords. Even if a federal grant ends up using a different submission portal, they are almost always listed on grants.gov as far as the information about the grant. So I think that's about as much as we need to, as deep as we need to go into the federal grant database right now. But just know there's a lot there, there's a lot to it, but federal grants will be listed there. And a question, how frequently have you submitted a federal grant request? Ooh, I have submitted quite a few, and I've also served as a federal reviewer. And so I've seen both sides of it, and there's a lot that goes into both ends. Federal grants are very, very complex to write and to submit, and also to score. So thank you, Nancy. Okay, state grants. So I believe what I have linked here, since we have the largest number of grants related to schools, come through the California Department of Education. So what I have linked here is their available funding page. So this shows their active opportunities. And so when I think of in my role in grant services, going back to Nancy's question about how frequently have you submitted a federal grant request, it is way more frequent that we're going to be submitting state requests to the Department of Education. So we do a lot of state grants. But so this is something that you can look at also, and you can look to see what's currently available. You can also look to see what's forecasted. And also, if you're curious, you can look at past funding profiles because depending on, the budget, the legislature, sometimes things come around again. Sometimes things that were funded a few years ago, somebody decides to fund them again. So this particular website, the CDE funding, available funding opportunities, is very handy for educational grants. Okay. On my slide, the third thing that I have here is corporate grants. And so with corporate grants, there's not one database that lists all the corporate giving endeavors. So what you have to do is you have to just kind of throw a shot in the dark and just take your favorite search engine, and you can use, let's say Google, for example, and then type in the name of the company or the corporation and search charitable giving afterwards. And that is one way to find out if a company that you know has a large presence near you, engages in charitable giving endeavors, and getting the details on that. Yeah, it looks like you've got some good examples you're pulling up there. Thank you. All right. But I'm hoping that this last resource that I'm going to share with you is going to be the one that you are extremely excited about as you leave today. Because I'll be honest, I put a lot of work into this one for you. It's called the SDCOE Grant Services Available Funding Opportunities for Districts and Schools. So what I do once a week is I go through all kinds of grant databases, and just I scour the internet to find funding opportunities that are active and that are tailored specifically to districts and schools. So Pam, if you don't mind clicking on that link, and it's a Monday board, like I said, that is updated weekly. And my goal is to always have at least 50 live active grants for teachers, principals, anyone, schools, school districts, anyone engaged in education and grants, for you to be able to search and apply for to see these vetted grants. Right now, I think I have 70 up there. So we have a nice little patch of grants for you for your perusal. But bookmark it if you're looking for something in particular and you don't see it this week, maybe it'll be there for you next week.
Michelle, would we have time to give people maybe 2 or 3 minutes to just kind of take some time to browse through this and see if
That's
there's
a
something that they could be interested in? Then maybe you can come back and tell us what you found. I think maybe we can, what's the word I'm looking for? Crowdsource it a little bit. So if
yeah.
you're right sitting there at a computer, We have time. I don't want to take up your time, but I wanted to ask if we had time to
No,
hands on.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So what do we say? We take about 5 minutes and everybody can see
Perfect.
if they find a treasure.
I'm going to set my timer. So we will give you 5 minutes
I think
and
that
I
sounds great.
will kind of keep it. Well, there we go. You'll have to trust me. 5 minutes.
Sounds great.
Perfect.
Can you share the link to this page in the chat, please?
Yes, let me get that for you. Time? Oh, I see. We have 15 seconds. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Yes, yes, yes. So I would love to hear a couple different things. I would love to hear some of the treasures that people have found that they're curious about, that they'd like to look into, or they have questions about. And yeah, I also would love to hear Sharon. Yeah, you've been nominated for one of these awards. I would love to hear about that. So anybody and everyone.
Yeah, the past 5, 6 years, I've been nominated for the Gilder Lehrman Teacher of the Year.
Wow, congratulations. That's lovely.
Yeah,
Wow.
hopefully, I'd love to win it one day. I've been to a bunch of their seminars, but
Sharon, what can you tell? I don't know what that organization is. Are you able to?
it's the Gilder Lehrman Institute for American History.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. Well,
Yeah,
congratulations.
they do a bunch of amazing work, and they have lots of resources, both online and then teacher seminars in the summer,
Mhm.
both online and in museums and national parks and archives all over the country.
That's amazing. Well,
That are
congratulations.
completely free for teachers.
That is a cool distinction. Is that a sort of an association that history teachers in particular know about? So I know in
Yeah,
Ed Tech we have ISTE, which is the International Society for Technology Using Educators, and then we also have a local affiliation which is SDQ, and they do mini grants and grants from time to time. So if any of you have affiliations like that that you know of, that please feel free to put them in the chat if there are things that we should be looking at. I would have to imagine that even the National Association of Math Teachers, I think I used to be a part of, it's been a while, but I would imagine that they have grants. So a lot of these teacher content related entities often
yeah,
do mini grants and things like that.
yeah.
Could you say the name of that again, please?
It's a Gilder Lehrman. I'll spell it out. It's yeah. I don't know if I can even. It's GILDERL. Lehrman is LEH. ERMAN.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a math teacher, but history is kind of makes me curious. So I am curious about that. I'll just say that I just kind of clicked on one that was called Karma for
Karma for
Kara.
Kara. Mhm.
And it was just beautiful, just a beautiful young woman that it sounds like she passed away from cancer, and it's given to anyone 18 and younger to help their community, $1,000, $250 to $1,000. And I'm just thinking, wow, that would be super cool to do with like a club at school, like, you know, just they could think of some service thing they would like to do for their community. I think it's really cool. So that one
Yay.
definitely made me curious.
Yay. Thank you so much, Nancy. Thank you. Anyone else? Is there one more that somebody thought, oh, this looks cool?
So I just wanted to share one with everybody that is actually available now, but it's open right now. So I'm going to share my screen and show it to all of you. It closes tomorrow. That's the caveat. But so I'm going to share my screen, and it is let me come to it. The Classroom of the Future grant. So if you go to classroomsofthefuture.org is the innovation grant form. And so if you click on it, let me go back to show you how I got there. So if you click where it says online application form, it will take you, and it's due Friday, February 7th by 11:59 p.m. So you would have all day tomorrow to get it done. It's a relatively easy grant. And it's not, you would get the money in May. The money does go directly to you. It doesn't go to your school, from what I understand, but it does have just the boxes that you would fill in. You can apply for whichever grant you think meets your requirement. So there's a $5,000, there's one, two, three $5,000 grants and one $10,000 grant. So I would highly suggest, if you have the time today to apply, it's a really great grant, and they do offer these they do offer them to people, and people, it's all only for San Diego County. Any questions about that one?
Yeah, I just popped in the chat. It's a yearly grant. So it's
Yeah.
something to like, if you don't squeak in with this one this year, you can kind of keep it in your back pocket for next year. But there's lots of different levels to the grants that they give out for that. So if you have a little bit larger program, definitely worth looking at.
Yeah, and it looks like Lars just filled it in. Lars, don't tell people you don't want all the competition. So it's there, and please fill it out, like participate in it. And they do a big award ceremony at the end of or in May at SeaWorld.
How much money do they give away? How many $5,000 grants?
Well, I think there was 3 5,000 and one 10,000, whatever it is, they only do one for each one.
They're just slightly different categories.
Yes. So see where your category fits. But traditionally, I will say not many people apply for it. I sometimes sit on, I probably won't do it this year because I know some of the people that are applying, but I've sat on the board to decide who gets the grant, and it's not many people get them. I mean, not many people apply.
I was going to say the same thing for the SDQ mini grants, which they do from time to time. You do have to be a member of SDQ, but really it's of Q.org, which is Computer Using Educators. And then you select San Diego as your affiliate. And I don't think that the membership is more than maybe $40, or at least it wasn't when I was on the board. But they're usually like a $500 mini grant. So and there too, like a lot of people just don't apply for them. And Alicia and I both were on the SDQ board for a number of years, and sat and kind of looked at people's proposals for the mini grant. It's usually about 2 paragraphs of writing, and not that many people apply for them or know about them, I think.
And honestly, as somebody who has sat on, who does review grants proposals, a lot of grants, there's not a lot of competition. I've noticed, and so even we do one here at SDCOE for SDCOE employees, and it's a grant for professional development, and we rarely have people apply. So we have enough money to give away 5 grants or 6 grants, and typically we have 1 or 2 people apply. So it's just one of those things. There's a lot of money out there to be to find.
Okay, Michelle.
You raised some good points that there is a lot of money that is out there, and yeah, the level of competition probably does depend on the stakes as well, and the prize. So thank you so much for that. So getting creative with your searches and looking into a wider range of grants can really be helpful too. So for example, I know that there's the Dollar General Literacy Grant. And so if what you're looking for in ed tech in any way touches, helps promote, support a literacy endeavor, some of the eligible expenses for the literacy grant include computers, software, technology. So sometimes taking a look at grants that maybe you don't necessarily think may be a fit, there might be some overlap, or there might be a fit for you. Okay, so we can go to the next slide then, please. All right,
Oh,
so
you're not there yet. Sorry. Didn't finish clicking on the button that said share.
that's okay, that's okay. All right. So we've talked about what a grant is, who the funders are. We've talked about some funding sources. So now I just want to make sure that we touch on some application basics. So key components of a grant application are typically a proposal, and this is where you'll be explaining why you need the grant and how you will use the funds. The budget will outline clearly how the funds will be spent. And so you're going to want to make sure that the proposal and the budget are hand in glove. You're not going to say, I want to start an ed tech program that involves new computers in a flexible classroom for literacy, and then in your budget, you have a trip to a conference somewhere else. So you want to make sure your proposal and your budget are clearly aligned. Often a grant application will ask for goals and objectives, depending on the complexity of the application. It could be very simple or complex. But they just want to know, the funder just wants to know that there's going to be a clear, measurable outcome as a result of them giving you this money. And then lastly, a timeline. Some grants will say, all right, we're going to give you this award and you've got a year to implement this project. Some of the larger, more complex grants, it'll be longer. So those are key things to know. Your proposal, budget, goals and objectives, and the timeline. Some common mistakes that you would want to avoid are not following the instructions, because quite a few applications will, they'll say needs to be in by this particular day and time, and you can't miss the deadline. Or, not following instructions could also look like the funder wants to fund a CTE program for middle school students. And if you write an application, a CTE that would fund equipment for a CTE program for high school students, that's not what they're going to fund. So don't waste your time. Make sure that you're very clear in your goals and your budget, and make sure that if there is when there is a deadline, that you know it and you meet it. And side note, sometimes federal grants will often give you the deadline time and East Coast time. So you'll want to make a note of that as well. A couple of overarching tips for a strong application. Be specific and passionate about your project. You really want to make sure that they can see the picture of what you want to do with their award, with their grant award. And align your needs with the funder's goals. So this may require that you read through the RFA a couple of times to make sure that you have a strong sense of what it is that they want to fund, and that you're writing to make sure that you are putting their money where they want it to go. And also another note on that is, if I know we especially in education, we change terms a lot for, let's say, English learners versus multilingual language learner, MLL. What is it? Multilingual language learners. Anyway, use the language that is used in the RFA. Align with the funder's language. So those are some basics. Okay, so then my last slide here, the next slide, please.
And
Michelle or Pam, I'm just seeing your like your desktop. I'm not seeing the slides.
Thanks, Allison. Pam, I think you're muted.
I have 3 screens going here, so I'm sorry. I thought I was sharing the right one. Thank you for letting us know. And you guys have been staring at yourselves, huh? Or just my desktop, which is this
A very
lovely
pretty
picture.
background.
It was quite a lovely background, I have to say. I kept
Sorry
going,
about
okay,
that.
go.
It changes with the time of day too. It's interesting.
Oh, neat. Very neat. Okay, so then the last thing that I'm gonna leave you with is we have so many additional resources available for you on our grant services website, which is sdcoe.net/grants. We have professional development resources, templates, video tutorials, a link to register for our Demystifying the World of Grants course. I don't know if Pam, if you have the ability to click on that page. Yes, beautiful, beautiful. And I can also put the link here in the chat. Yeah, so if you can scroll down a little bit, and yeah, there's all kinds of resources. There's that's for the Demystifying the World of Grants course, which it's almost full. I think we have 2 or 3 more slots left available in that. And then if you I'm sorry, could we go back to the professional?
Sorry.
Yeah. Then there's videos. We have a YouTube channel. So we've got, if you'd like to learn more about grants, you can check those out. And then under the resources at the bottom, yeah, the alphabet soup one in particular is one that people seem to find very handy. So if you open up a grant or an RFA and you see all these acronyms and initialisms, and you're like, what the heck is going on here? This is a handy dandy cheat sheet for you, so you can kind of translate what it is that they're asking for. And so those are all
Sorry.
free, all available for you to use to extend your knowledge of grants. All those resources are there for you. And so I believe I left about 5 or 10 minutes here for questions. So if anybody would like to throw any questions out to me or to the group, I'm happy to answer them. Oh, thanks, Nancy. What is a recent success story? Oh, Nancy. Oh my gosh, let's see. I'll popcorn a few out that come to mind. We got a CTIG, Career Technical Education Incentive Grant, that is going to fund a van to take juvenile court and community school students to college and career training and events. And that's super exciting. We got a CSEG, Computer Science Supplementary Authorization Incentive Grant. And so what CSEG is going to do is it's going to help teachers gain the supplementary authorization to be computer science teachers. And I'm guessing everybody in this room is really a fan of computer science teachers, and computer science in general, right? Yes. Let's see. Allison, I don't want to put you on the spot, but can you, I mean, there's so many happy ones. There's so many things. Is there one that makes you really happy?
Let's see. Well, I can share one just actually outside of SDCOE. I support my kids' school, and I actually helped our local foundation apply for a grant from the city of San Diego through the city council. So $2,000 that we got to support a big community event that we do in North Park in the spring. So just you know, to reiterate that those kind of smaller grants make a big difference for the individual school sites and putting on events. So we're excited about that one.
That's great. Thank you so much, Allison. And thank you, Nancy, for that lovely question. There's one more resource. Since you're all here specifically about EdTech, I want to make sure you know about this one. And I'm going to put the link in the chat here. Here we go. Were you all familiar with Computers for Learning? Anybody want to give a thumbs up or a... Okay. The Computers for Learning website gives schools computers that have been used by the government and reported as excess property. So it's a great way if you need to build the number of computers at your school or school site, get your school's name on this list, and then as computers become available. In the past, you were required to cover the shipping costs, but still that it can, depending on the number of computers that you need, it can absolutely be a worthwhile endeavor. The GSA Computers for Learning program. All right. And I think if nobody has any more questions, I think that's all I have.
I was going to say there's one, and I